The Audi e-tron GT is the four-ringed Bavarian manufacturer's flagship car. It sits at the pinnacle of both engineering and performance, and the design's not half bad either, right? It is a sports car, but not necessarily for the track. It is designed for exhilarating performance on road and over long distances. Now, we saw the arrival of the e-tron GT to India just a few days ago. You've seen what the car looks like, both inside and out, and all the talk about it being the spiritual successor for the R8. I'm really excited to get to drive it here in Germany. It's home, especially seeing that this one is the RS e-tron GT. So the e-tron GT is available in two avatars, but both use the same 93.4 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack, shared also with the Porche Taycan. In fact, the VW Group's electric architecture underpins both models as well. But unlike the standard GT that has a 522 bhp output and 630 Nm of torque, on the RS you get a whopping 637 horses along with a mad 830 Nm of torque. The car gets dual synchronous motors, one each, on the front and rear axle. And this results in quattro all-wheel drive capability too. The RS e-tron GT has gorgeous proportions. It is low-slung, wide, and has a swooping roofline. All that, plus its blacked-out face, show it as poised for action. Overall, the RS look is edgier, right from the bumper in the front to the rear end with its distinctive diffuser. The LED light animation is also different to the standard GT. While initially disappointed not to get my test car in a racy red or electric blue or a bright green, the Daytona grey is really growing on me, as it gives the car a menacing allure and makes the RS elements really stand out. Inside too, the car gets distinctive RS touches. The idea is to exemplify luxury though, and not just mad sportiness, which as a four-door car I can totally get. The cabin looks refined, and while I like the red leather treatment, some find it tacky. The latest MMI infotainment and connectivity interfaces, virtual cockpit, head-up display and driver aids are standard. In fact, the interior really scores over the Porche Taycan for me, and it is completely loaded on safety. On the road, the RS e-tron GT comes to life. Given its credentials, I expected nothing less. And yes, before you can ask, I did drive the standard GT2 on the same day, so I can truly compare the two of them. Of course, it's quick. It's very quick. And there is no doubt that the RS is just sharper, faster, and more dynamic. I will go so far as to say that I like the handling on this car more than on the Taycan, which is already bloody good to begin with. The RS e-tron GT has a really sure feel of it on the road. It goes where you want it to go. You get a sense of its overall size though, that I do have to say, but it has a real sort of a GT feel to it, which may be a little exaggerated because, well, it's in the name, and so why not have that sensation? But it's very planted and it's very precise when it comes to the dynamics. This is also one of the fastest EVs I have ever driven. It has such instant acceleration. Here we go. Even when you're already cruising, that it blows your mind a bit. The e-tron GT gets 4-corner air suspension and adaptive dampers as standard. It also has torque vectoring on the rear axle. All of this gives the car a very taut feel, even in corners. And there's plenty of aggression while maintaining a neat balance. The braking is just superb. And let's not forget, you can set levels of regenerative braking to enhance power being fed back into the battery. The Taycan's steering is sportier though, as I found the RS e-tron GT's steering almost too light. This meant a few corrections every now and then, meaning more driver input and alertness required. But all that is only at the faster and more dynamic end of its performance spectrum. The RS does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.3 seconds, and its top speed is limited to 250 kilometers per hour. So you're driving along nice and easy. In efficiency mode, you can go, of course, straight to comfort. It's one of the few RS cars that has an efficiency mode to begin with. Comfort's the default. And then here's the interesting thing. You put it into dynamic, and the car kind of gets a little growly. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. It's very silently growly. But there's this instant change of character, and it's acoustic as well. It's not just in its feel. Yes, the engineers at Audi have worked very hard on the sound of this car. It is meant to sound modern, futuristic, and dynamic, whilst still staying relatively silent. On the whole though, the Audi RS e-tron GT is a very satisfying car to drive. It is comfortable even in its sportiest drive mode. It is luxurious and will not tire you out in any way. It also has a drive range that can go as high as 480 kilometers, though my European counterparts tell me that 380 kilometers is comfortably achieved. It takes anywhere from 9 hours to 22 minutes for an 80% charge, depending on the type of charger being used. It is now available in India starting at 2 crore 5 lakh rupees, and while it's clearly not for everyone, it justifies the higher price tag over the standard GT, for sure. Yeah, that's never going to get old.